There is a feeling that makes your heart race, and there is a feeling that makes your soul feel at home. Attachment is rooted in fear, while love is rooted in choice. And that single difference changes everything. Attachment begins in insecurity. It is born from the quiet fear of being left, replaced, or forgotten. It whispers, what if they stop caring? What if I'm not enough? When you are attached, your emotions depend heavily on the other person's behavior. A delayed reply feels like rejection. A change in tone feels like danger. Their distance feels like abandonment. Your nervous system is constantly scanning for signs that something is wrong. You don't just want them, you need them to behave in ways that soothe your fears. And when they don't, panic rises. Attachment clings because it believes love can disappear at any moment. It holds tightly because it assumes that loosening its grip will result in loss. It confuses intensity with connection. The highs feel intoxicating and the lows feel devastating. The relationship becomes an emotional roller coaster. But instead of stepping off, attachment holds on tighter. It says, I can't lose this. I won't survive without this. But love doesn't sound like that. Love is rooted in choice, not fear, not desperation, not dependency. Choice. When you truly love someone, you are not with them because you are afraid to be alone. You are with them because you genuinely want to share your life with them. There is no silent bargain happening in the background. You are not staying because you doubt your worth or because you believe no one else will come. You are staying because your heart feels aligned, not because your fears feel triggered. Choice feels calm. It feels steady. It does not rush. It does not demand constant proof. When love is a choice, you wake up each day and consciously decide, I want this person in my life. And you know they are choosing you too, not out of obligation, not out of guilt, not out of loneliness, but freely. Attachment says, I need you to stay so I feel secure. Love says, I choose you even though I know I can stand on my own. There is power in that difference. When you operate from attachment, you often abandon yourself to keep someone else. You silence your boundaries. You tolerate behavior that hurts you. You shrink your standards. Why? Because fear is louder than self-respect. The fear of losing them feels greater than the pain of losing yourself. But when you operate from love, you don't sacrifice your identity to maintain connection. You understand that someone who truly chooses you will not require you to betray yourself. Love does not demand self-erasure. It does not require constant reassurance to survive. Attachment reacts. Love responds. Attachment panics when there is space. Love trusts that space does not equal loss. Attachment needs control to feel safe. Love understands that control is not connection. When love is rooted in choice, there is freedom inside the relationship. Not freedom to disrespect or neglect, but freedom to be fully yourself. You don't feel trapped. You don't feel owned. You don't feel like your entire existence depends on another human being's mood. And the most powerful part is this: when love is a choice, it continues even when it is inconvenient. It is not driven by emotional highs alone. It is driven by intention, respect, and commitment. It is two people standing together, not because they are afraid to fall apart, but because they genuinely want to build something meaningful. Fear clings, choice stays. Attachment creates anxiety and chaos, while love creates peace and safety. Attachment feels loud. It feels urgent. It feels like your heart is always on edge, waiting for something to go wrong. When you are attached, your emotional state depends on how secure you feel in the connection at any given moment. If they are affectionate, you feel high. If they are distant, you feel low. Your peace is unstable because it is constantly shifting with their behavior. You are not grounded within yourself. You are reacting to them. Attachment thrives in uncertainty. It feeds on mixed signals, on hot and cold behavior, on unpredictable affection. The chaos becomes addictive. The emotional spikes feel like passion. The longing feels like depth. The intensity feels like love. But underneath all of it, there is anxiety. There is overthinking. There is the constant need to decode messages, analyze tone, and search for reassurance. You find yourself asking questions like, are they losing interest? Did I say something wrong? Why haven't they called? Your mind becomes a battlefield of assumptions. Small things feel big. Silence feels threatening. Space feels like rejection. Your nervous system never truly rests. That is not peace. That is survival mode. Real love does not put your body in a constant state of stress. It does not make you feel like you are walking on emotional eggshells. Love feels steady. It feels predictable in the healthiest way, not boring, predictable in a way that allows you to relax. You don't have to wonder where you stand. You don't have to guess how they feel. Their actions are consistent. Their words align with their behavior. Love creates safety, and safety is powerful. Safety means you can express your feelings without fear of punishment or withdrawal. It means disagreements don't threaten the entire relationship. It means distance does not automatically mean disaster. When love is present, you trust the foundation. You trust that one bad day doesn't equal the end. You trust that conflict can be resolved instead of avoided. Attachment reacts quickly and emotionally. A delayed response becomes proof of rejection. A misunderstanding becomes a catastrophe. It magnifies everything because fear is in control. The relationship feels unstable because your sense of security is fragile. Love responds calmly. It communicates instead of assuming. It asks instead of accusing. It listens instead of escalating. When love exists, both people feel emotionally safe enough to speak honestly. There is no constant test of loyalty, no games to provoke jealousy, no silent punishments to regain control. Attachment feels like a storm, intense, dramatic, overwhelming. Love feels like solid ground beneath your feet. In attachment, you might feel butterflies constantly, but those butterflies are often anxiety. Your body doesn't know if it's safe. Your heart races not because it is secure, but because it is uncertain. The unpredictability creates emotional highs and lows that feel passionate, but they leave you exhausted. Love doesn't exhaust you, it restores you. You can breathe in love. You can sleep peacefully. You don't wake up with dread in your chest. You don't constantly replay conversations in your mind. You don't feel the need to monitor every interaction. Peace is not the absence of emotion. It is the presence of security. And when you experience love that feels safe, you realize something important. Chaos was never a sign of deep connection. It was a sign of instability. Real love does not shake your foundation, it strengthens it. Attachment seeks to fill emptiness, while love shares wholeness. Attachment often begins in a quiet place within you that feels incomplete. It starts with a void, a loneliness you don't want to face, an insecurity you don't know how to soothe, a fear that you are not enough on your own. When someone enters your life and makes you feel seen, wanted, or valued, it can feel like relief. Like finally, something inside you is being filled. But when you depend on another person to complete you, the connection becomes fragile because now they are not just someone you care about, they are the solution to your emptiness. You lean on them for validation, for identity, for emotional stability. If they pull away, even slightly, the emptiness returns. And that emptiness feels unbearable. So you cling. Attachment says, "You make me feel whole." But hidden beneath that sentence is the belief, "Without you, I am incomplete." That belief creates pressure. It turns love into responsibility. The other person becomes your source of happiness instead of your partner in it. And when your happiness depends entirely on someone else's presence, mood, or attention, you lose your center. Real love feels different. Love does not come from a place of lack. It comes from a place of fullness. It is not two half people trying to merge into one. It is two whole individuals choosing to share their already complete lives. There is no desperate attempt to fill a void. There is no silent expectation that the other person must heal all your wounds. Love says, "I am whole on my own, and I want to share that wholeness with you." When you love from wholeness, you do not lose yourself in the relationship. You maintain your identity, your passions, your friendships, your purpose. The relationship becomes an addition to your life, not the definition of it. You are not looking at them to save you. You are walking beside them because you appreciate who they are. Attachment confuses dependency with devotion. It feels romantic to say, "I can't live without you." It sounds passionate. It sounds intense, but healthy love does not require emotional dependence to survive. In fact, dependence can slowly suffocate connection. When you are attached from emptiness, you may overlook red flags just to avoid feeling alone again. You may accept less than you deserve because having something feels better than having nothing. You convince yourself that crumbs are enough because the alternative feels like facing your own inner void. But love from wholeness raises your standards. You are not afraid to walk away from what diminishes you because you are not trying to escape yourself. You are comfortable in your own presence. You don't need constant distraction in the form of another person. Love becomes about sharing joy instead of escaping pain. In attachment, you might say, I need you to make me happy. In love, you say, I am happy and I want to experience that happiness with you. There is strength in that shift. When two whole people come together, the relationship is built on mutual growth, not mutual rescue. They inspire each other, support each other, challenge each other, but they do not carry the weight of each other's unfinished healing because love is not about finding someone to complete you. It is about finding someone who complements the completeness you have already built within yourself. Real love supports growth and freedom, while attachment clings and controls. Attachment is afraid of change. It fears growth because growth can create distance. When you are attached to someone in an unhealthy way, you may secretly hope they never outgrow you, never evolve beyond the version of themselves that feels safe and familiar. You may feel threatened when they pursue new goals, meet new people, or discover new passions. Not because you don't care about them, but because their expansion feels like a risk to your security. Attachment wants closeness at any cost. It says, stay the same, stay near me, stay predictable. It confuses possession with connection. It may try to limit the other person's independence, not always in obvious ways, but subtly through guilt, through emotional withdrawal, through silent disapproval. It feels uncomfortable when there is too much space. It interprets freedom as danger. But real love does not fear growth. Real love celebrates it. When you truly love someone, you want them to become the fullest version of themselves, even if that evolution challenges you. You don't feel threatened by their ambition. You don't shrink when they shine. You don't compete with their success. You stand beside them, proud, supportive, secure in your place. Attachment asks, how can I keep you? Love asks, how can I help you grow? There is a deep difference in that energy. Attachment often leads to control. Control can look like constant checking, needing to know where they are at all times, questioning their friendships, monitoring their choices. It can show up as jealousy that feels overwhelming and persistent. It can sound like, if you loved me, you wouldn't do that. It creates invisible rules that restrict freedom in the name of loyalty. But control is not protection. It is fear disguised as care. Love does not require control to feel secure. It trusts the character of the person it is with. It trusts that commitment is a choice, not a cage. When love is present, both individuals are free to have their own lives, their own interests, friendships, dreams, without the relationship feeling threatened. Freedom in love does not mean detachment or neglect. It means mutual respect. It means understanding that two people can be deeply connected without losing their individuality. It means knowing that closeness is strongest when it is chosen freely, not forced through pressure or fear. Attachment clings tightly because it believes that loosening its grip will result in loss. It may panic at the idea of independence. It may interpret a partner's need for space as rejection. It reacts to distance with suspicion. It sees autonomy as disconnection. Love understands that space can strengthen connection. It allows room for personal growth. It recognizes that healthy relationships breathe. They are not suffocating. They are not built on surveillance or constant reassurance. They are built on trust. When love supports growth, both people feel encouraged to pursue their purpose. They don't feel like they have to choose between the relationship and their dreams. They don't feel guilty for evolving. Instead, they inspire each other to rise higher. Attachment says, don't change too much or you'll leave me behind. Love says, grow as much as you need to, I'm growing too. And growth inevitably changes people. It refines values, clarifies desires, strengthens boundaries. In attachment, these changes can create friction because the relationship was built on dependency. When one person becomes stronger, the imbalance becomes visible. When one person heals, they may no longer tolerate what they once accepted. That can feel threatening to someone operating from attachment, but in love, growth deepens the bond. As both individuals evolve, the connection evolves with them. There is open communication. There is adaptability. There is willingness to adjust and mature together. Real love does not trap. It does not say, "You belong to me." It says, "We belong together because we both want to be here." Attachment is fueled by the fear of abandonment. Love is sustained by mutual commitment. Attachment may keep someone physically close while emotionally suffocating them. Love keeps someone emotionally safe while physically free. When you are loved in a healthy way, you feel empowered. You feel encouraged to take risks, to pursue new opportunities, to discover who you truly are. You don't feel smaller inside the relationship. You feel expanded. You don't feel monitored. You feel trusted. You don't feel owned. You feel valued. And that feeling of freedom does not weaken the bond, it strengthens it. Because the strongest connections are not the ones where two people cling to each other out of fear. They are the ones where two strong individuals stand side by side, unafraid of each other's growth, unthreatened by each other's independence, committed not because they have to be, but because every day they choose to be. And when you truly understand the difference between love and attachment, something inside you shifts. You stop chasing intensity and start valuing peace. You stop mistaking anxiety for passion. You stop holding onto people just because you're afraid to let go. You begin to ask yourself harder questions. Am I staying because I feel chosen, or because I'm afraid of being alone? Am I loving freely or clinging desperately? Is this connection helping me grow or keeping me small? Because the truth is, attachment can feel powerful. It can feel overwhelming, consuming, intoxicating, but anything built on fear will eventually exhaust you. Anything built on control will eventually crack. Anything built on emptiness will always demand more than it gives. Real love does not drain you. It does not confuse you. It does not require you to abandon yourself. Real love feels steady. It feels secure. It feels like being able to breathe fully without fear that the air will suddenly disappear. It allows two people to stand strong on their own, yet softer together. It does not demand perfection. It does not demand possession. It simply asks for presence, honesty, and choice. And the most powerful realization of all is this: you cannot experience real love until you are willing to let go of attachment. You cannot hold on to fear and expect to feel freedom. You cannot cling tightly and expect something to flourish. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is release what feels intense but unstable so you can make space for something calm and real. Something that does not trigger your wounds but supports your healing. Something that does not make you question your worth but reflects it back to you. Because love is not about losing yourself in another person. It is about finding someone who meets you as you are, whole, growing, and free. And when you finally experience that kind of love, you won't have to wonder if it's real. You'll feel it in the peace,